This feels like the future right here.
Yeah, dude. It's
Just
pretty
going to be
crazy.
managing like hundreds of bots to do work, and I'll be hooked up
I
into the
know,
brain.
dude. This episode is brought to you by Smile.io, the loyalty platform trusted by thousands of the fastest growing Shopify Plus businesses to increase repeat purchases, reward VIPs, and build lasting customer relationships. Smile helps businesses become more profitable while discounting their products less. You got to be careful with the discounts. You don't want to push too hard on the discount pedal. If you're ready to turn transactional sales into lifetime customers, start building a more profitable business with Smile.io today.
How many Slack workspaces are you in?
Dude, not a lot, man. I try to put the kibosh on it when anybody says the word Slack around me. I don't know,
Can you
probably.
submit a ticket for that to Kalen at KalenTickets.com?
Yeah, we'll get that. We'll get that in the queue. We're looking at early Q3 for all new Slack invites. We'll get that slotted in where appropriate. And the thing is I'm a weirdo, so I don't like my main Slack. I have the Shopify Slack, and then like what's the other Slack? The mechanic Slack, and the
Oh, that
one
must be a spicy one.
SDA, the Shopify Developer Alliance one, the paid one.
Oh, paid
Shout
Slack.
out to SDA. I'm a proud member.
Nice.
But anyways, I don't like putting client Slacks in there because I usually have that one open most of the time. Although lately I have that one closed too. But basically, I don't like notifications at all. So
Yeah, me either.
I jump in and out. Dude. You got to jump into a Slack and jump out. You got to get in and get out. Get the hell out. That's the only way to do it.
Can't let them reach you all the time.
You
Otherwise, when you got to
can't.
read books,
Exactly, dude. You can't let them catch you all the time, dude. You got to be a little bit under the radar. You got to be a little stealth certain times of the day. This one client that I've known for like a long, well, he's a friend I've known for a long time, and he's like pretty, you know, certain people that are just always on communication wise, like everything's immediate, like they expect immediate replies. Their replies are everything's immediate, and you know people like this, right? I'm not the
that
only
might be
person.
me.
You're
I'm an
like, you talking
immediate.
about me?
The thing is, I'm an immediate replier, which is
Yeah.
probably severely unhealthy. But I don't expect people to reply to me immediately. But maybe the fact that I reply immediately means other people think I expect that, which is sorry,
Oh
everyone.
yeah. No, you're putting extreme pressure on everyone with those replies. You need to settle down. You're, you're making everybody uncomfortable in the workplace with those quick replies. No, but he like I talked to him and I hadn't like worked with him for a couple of years or talked to him a couple of years, and he said that he has like a Slack, like he jumps into Slack in the morning and then in the afternoon that's it. And I was like shocked, like he was the last person I expected to have like Slack boundaries. But
Interesting.
show title, by the way, Slack boundaries. That's a good show title.
Slack boundaries.
That's a fun one. Oh, dude, how you been, man?
I'm good. Kids went to school for one day, and then
Yeah.
we got 3 snow days. They went to school, and then today was another snow day. So hanging in
Dude,
there. But I feel like I'm finally over this perma sickness I had for like the last 3 weeks. I've just been
three
sick on
weeks.
sick.
What?
Yeah, I've been
Dude,
getting beaten down.
that's gnarly.
They
I
just
thought it
queued up
was.
in my system. It was like virus after virus trying to get at me, you know?
Dang, dude. I caught you at the front end of that, huh?
You did. I'm here. I'm done with it, hopefully. Though I just went out and did some more snow blowing, so maybe I got another one.
Dude, how fun is that to have a snowblower?
It's pretty sweet.
Dang, dude.
Especially when you can like blow snow at someone, but no one wanted that today, so it's fine, whatever.
Your neighbors filed HOA reports against you.
Mainly my children I blow snow at, but
Nice, dude. That sounds freaking amazing. I bet
for
it gets
me,
old though, like having to maintain it and stuff. But
it only snows like once or twice out here in the old STL, but
right,
we're pretty buried at this point.
dude. Wait, so St. Louis, Missouri,
St. Louis.
and that's where you're from, right?
Yep.
Nice, dude. So, do you like live close to where you grew up, type of thing? Like, as far as the
I'm about
neighborhood, or
30 minutes away from my like the house I grew up in, so my
oh,
parents still
that's
live
pretty
there. It's pretty
sick,
cool.
dude. That's so cool. That's so wholesome. You're just a wholesome Midwest
Yeah,
boy, man. I love
that's
it.
me. I
That's
left the
cool.
state for like 10-ish years, 10, 13 years, and now I'm back. Feels pretty good.
Nice.
Except now I got snow. And I'm really sad because yesterday DHL sent me a text message and they said, your new frying pan is 10 stops away. So I
Mm-hmm.
clicked and I watched the truck and
Oh yeah.
they were seven
Oh yeah.
seven drops away. And then I
Yep.
was like, okay, I'm gonna take a nap because I can't stand waiting anymore. And then I woke up and they gave me a delivery exception. So I was like, what?
Oh
You
no.
were close.
Oh
They were
no.
so close. So I'm
Oh
guessing it's because I didn't snow blow my porch or something and they just like pulled up
Oh,
on the street and they were like, I'm not going to walk over that mound of snow.
dude.
But I'm sad. I
What?
was hoping to season that bad boy.
Dude, that's rough. There's not much worse in in this modern era. I mean, we're not fighting wars.
No.
There's not much worse than having a package you're just waiting on. Dude, I chased down a UPS driver one time. Dude, I was looking at the map. I chased him down, dude, because I think I was waiting on like a electric skateboard or something, and I was
Oh,
like
yeah,
ready
that's
to
a good one.
rock. But
I need to do
so
some carving, man.
yeah,
Let me
dude.
in that truck.
That's cool. But
Yeah, so I don't know where my frying pan is now, but came all the way from Argentina and then someone decided they didn't want to walk through 10 feet of snow to get to my
dude,
door. I don't know what happened.
you ordered a frying pan from Argentina?
Yeah, is this frying pan podcast now? I can talk to you about some frying
I
pan.
know. We're on thin ice here. We got to transition into some Shopify content, but that's unreal, dude. You must be like a real aficionado of frying pans, dude.
Uh, I mean, I cook things,
Yeah. I mean,
but
we all have, David, we all have frying pans, just so you know. I have a frying pan. It's not from Argentina, though. It's from friggin' Target, you know?
yeah, I guess
You're a
I could just
classy
get one
guy,
from
dude.
Target. Well, they got me because, okay, I will talk about this for 10 more seconds.
Okay.
This frying pan is stamped out of a single layer of carbon steel, so there are no rivets or welds. And that's how they got me.
Okay.
Like, you know, when you're washing a frying pan and you get a little gunk in that rivet?
Yeah. Yeah. It's horrible.
I decided that to solve that problem, I would order a pan from Argentina.
Nice. Was it a Shopify site? Can we segue? What kind of site did they have? Was it,
I'm
how did you,
sorry, I don't think it was a Shopify site.
jeez, man. Well, they got
They
to
should get
get
on
moving on.
Shopify.
By the way, until Shopify, I realize Shopify does not support 3 digits of precision on order line items.
Who needs that?
I don't know if you had that was a concern for your frying pan. I don't know how carefully you tracking the price on that bad boy, but yeah, we have this
No.
stupid NetSuite integration. The decimals are off. I'm off by 10 cents on this stupid. There's
Wait, how does
several.
that happen?
Well, okay,
10 cents
so
because of the third significant digit not being there.
yeah,
What?
yeah, because like in NetSuite in the source in NetSuite, the line items have 3 digits, and then they add up to then they're adding up in 3 digits. When you add into Shopify, it's going 2 digits, so the total is off by like 10 cents on like a $5,000 order. Which
Is
I
that
was like,
because the discount is applied on the three? Because 10 cents, that's in the first digit.
Yeah, that's in the first day. It just so happens it's 10 cents, but it's like they got six of this one item that the cost is like
Uh,
35.563 whatever. So it's all adding up. It's off by 10 cents. And you would think, okay, whatever, who cares? It's 10 cents. But then when I created the transaction to mark it as paid, if your payment amount isn't correct, now you got this big notification that you've got a balance of 10 whopping cents that you need to resolve on the order detail and the status is partially paid, or you have to lie and set the payment total to something wrong.
Yikes.
So we've got trade-offs to make. And then after doing all that, I was like, you know what? And of course we're doing all this in prod. Of course we're testing in prod because of reasons.
Yep.
And so then I
Otherwise, you'll
go,
have to pay Oracle another $30,000+ for the
no,
sandbox.
we have a sandbox. It's just the other reasons, the data in the sandbox is so out of date that it's like not even useful.
Oh yeah, I have that
Also,
problem too.
we're deploying, so I mean we're basically pushing most stuff live-ish. So anyways, then I tried deleting the order after posting the transactions to it. It was like, you can delete the order, but Shopify was going to keep this in its database for tax purposes. And then I was like, oh shit. I think they're tracking that revenue,
Yeah,
even
they're
though
going to
it
charge you
was,
that GMV.
yeah, even though I was just marking the order as paid from an external payment, that was processed elsewhere. But
Dang it.
yeah, that's fun
Can you
times, dude.
convince the NetSuite beings to stop doing it to three? Can we
That's not a
just
horrible idea. I mean, why do you have three decimals on the NetSuite side? I mean, who's because these are prices. I mean, it's not like it'd be one thing if these were costs because maybe you have exact costs there, or I don't know if it was something being calculated, but it's an end customer facing price. So shouldn't your end customer facing prices be two digits?
Yeah,
Question mark.
that is weird. So do they display it like that on the website where it's like $5,000 and 23 and
No,
one
no. I mean,
sixth of a cent?
no, I can't be. I mean, I haven't. I mean, no, because the on the front of the site is just regular. That's a good point. Yeah, the front end is just definitely showing a regular two decimal price.
That sounds like shenanigans to me. That's what I call
Yeah,
that. Who put this in with the extra digit? Do we
we need
need
to
that
have
fraction of a penny?
a regular section called shenanigans. Well, we already have a regular section. Anytime you say shenanigans, that's the section. And then
Perfect.
I need to like AI the transcripts up, and be like, okay, make sure like highlight the shenanigans section of the podcast, make that, number one, and then app of the week, we'll start to get some sections figured out.
I'm excited to hear more about your Kalen. K. I was gonna try and turn your name into AI somehow. Kalen.ai arc. You've been in it
Yeah,
lately. Been
dude,
doing
I've
some
been
AI
going
stuff.
been going nuts. Yeah, dude, I don't know what happened exactly, but I started binge listening to AI podcasts mostly because normally when I have some downtime, I'll like just look at TikTok for like an hour, but my friggin' eyes were sore. Like my right eye has been like bugging me from like looking at the screen too much.
Oh
So
no.
I was like, I gotta rest my eyes and listen to some podcasts. So I was listening to some podcasts and
That's my
then I
biggest fear as a professional screen looker adder,
dude,
that I will just, they'll fail at some point. At one point in the office, back when, people worked in offices, my monitor was right in front of a window, and I guess there was a huge glare, and I got an ocular migraine. Have you ever had one of those?
I don't think so.
It's like your brain doesn't hurt, but there's just a section of your vision in the middle that you can't see. And so I would like look at the screen,
Oh, no, I
and
haven't
if the
had that.
word was sight, like SITE, I wouldn't be able to see the I or the E. And I got
Holy
so scared. I was like, this is the end. I need to become a carpenter now because, well, I guess you need to be able to see, otherwise you cut off your fingers. But that was a scary
Right.
time for me.
Right. Even more scary, dude. Not a carpenter, like a teacher or something like that, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
teacher. And I wouldn't be
yeah,
able to see
dude.
my students' faces. I would just know them by their hairstyle or something.
Yeah, dude, stay
I
away
don't
from
know.
sharp objects and heavy equipment if you can't see, dude. But, dude, that's scary, man. The work, like for me, when I had to get glasses like 4 years ago, that scared the crap out of me because all of a sudden, like I hadn't needed glasses my whole life. All of a sudden, I felt like my body was just frail, and
Yeah,
now I feel like there's this clicking, is this ticking talk. What am I trying to say? That ticking clock?
there you go.
What's the phrase? A ticking time bomb? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. That sounds like a
That's
thing.
what it is. As to when my like body's just gonna stop working, and
Mid
actually
30s.
mid 30s you start going downhill. I'm in the early 40s now, dude. So it's accelerating. But
Here we go.
yeah, we're moving fast now. But
Oh, I was
hey,
going to
let
ask,
me.
do you have AI podcast recos?
Well, so many thoughts. There's this one called, I think it's called the AI Podcast by NVIDIA, and it's this guy that interviews different people. And that was pretty cool. It's more of the like interview format where he talks to different company owners. So it's a little like advertising, but it has some good nuggets on it. Like there was some cool, like where you go like, oh, wow, that's awesome that they, have that particular product or whatever, gives you
Hmm.
ideas. I think I also heard on the Lex Friedman podcast. I think I heard his interview with the Cursor team, and some other one that was cool. But he does all sorts of different interviews.
Yeah.
And then there's this one called This Week in AI. That's just these two guys that are like super smart. Like they're both PhDs or something and they work in the field. They like cover all the news related to AI. And that's the one that I'm kind of hooked on now.
I'll have to check that out. That does sound interesting. Usually I just get my AI news from Twitter, and
Right.
Twitter is full of so many other annoying things these days.
Right. Oh, dude, and by the way, the idea about putting Shopify Twitter or the forums into Notebook LM was
Yeah.
actually specifically because a lot of times I'll like look at Twitter on my phone if I'm at the gym or have some downtime, whatever. And I'm also trying not to do that because my stupid right eye hurts. So then I was thinking, I was like, dude, if I could get it into a podcast if that Notebook LM format, I could like get caught up that way because I'm actually like super behind on like Shopify Twitter,
That would
which
be
is
cool.
not.
I feel like that's the future. Like at some point, you'll have an AI that will know what you're interested in, and it'll just catch you up on stuff I care about. It
Totally.
needs to know what I care about, where I consume things, and then it can read Twitter for me and skip all of the videos of people getting in fights in Taco
Right.
Bell, and will just give me the AI
Dude,
stuff.
I've tried to disable those viral videos so many times. I click not interested, not interested, not.
Yeah.
Now, do I watch them sometimes? Of course I do.
Yes.
And then, but like when you click not interested, they should realize that your higher self is making an executive decision that you want future lower self you
Lizard brain,
to,
Kalen.
yeah, to respect. Like, I don't want to see some Taco Bell worker get knocked out by an angry cop.
On
I
a
mean,
daily basis. Like
yeah,
when I wake up in the morning, that's not what I should be presented with. Okay, I
yeah,
need I
yeah,
need some a nice wake up of like maybe you can show me a kid like walking around his yard with a little tiny goat. Like that's what I'll take in the morning,
right,
okay? That'll be
right,
fine.
right.
But don't show
But
me someone flip their car 37 times
I know,
right when I
I
wake
know,
up.
I know. It's like wait until 11 o'clock or something.
Yeah.
But I did do so. I built this little email thing that pulls my emails from Gmail, and then it runs a little prompt on them to prioritize them, so that basically like all the stuff you don't care about, it marks it as low priority, and then I can just kind of focus on the high priority stuff first, and then just review the low priority stuff all in one go, and then kind of click one button to just mark them all resolved and stuff.
I like that.
Which is kind of cool because like email has been trying to do this forever. Like Gmail has its like priority tabs, which I disabled forever ago because I
Yeah,
didn't like them. And then they have spam filters, which like, work for like the super low end spam, but the cold outreach SaaS, stuff always gets through. And like, so really all I wanted was just to run a prompt on an email and be like, okay, if something is from these people, these clients or whatever, like it's priority. And so I just keep adding stuff to my little prompt every day. And it's still like, I haven't had a day yet where everything is perfect. Like I have to keep adjusting things, but it's getting there, which is kind of fun.
that's really cool. That like before you would be like, I need Gmail to do this for me, and now you are so empowered by the
Yes.
accessibility of AI to just do it.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
I feel so empowered by, it sounds cheesy, but I really do. Like, and like even that idea of the podcast format for audio, it's like, oh, I have this issue with my eye, so I can just like fix that. Or email thing, like, yeah, it was in the realm of this is something only the big tech companies can solve. It's like now I can do it. And then, oh, the other thing I've been doing is organizing like my to-do list with the Chat GPT, which has been
Oh,
freaking amazing because like this one project I'm on that's like it's got this weird scope. The scope is always changing. There's like weird decisions that get made where it's like the client wants this, so we just have to do it. So like, how like normally in your head you have to like kind of model out the whole system in your head to like
hmm,
you need to have this internal consistency to it. And then when they say no, just do this, and it's like a weird decision, it's like the house of cards fall is like gets,
yep.
you know what I
You
mean?
got to
And then
rebuild the whole thing in your brain. I do the same
yeah,
thing. Like it's all got to start from some bottom place and like, okay, now I'm good.
yeah. So they'll be like, well, just do this. And like, in terms of that one isolated requirement, I get it. You just want to make this simple trade off to do this thing. And now I'm all frustrated because I have to somehow remember how all the pieces fit together. And I can't tell you exactly what else is going to slip through the cracks as a result of this weird decision, but I know something's going to slip through the cracks, and it's going to be my fault because I'm not going to have a way to tell you what it was. It's going to happen a month from now. So I get like so stressed out. But now I have this thread where I go, okay, they said to do this. And then I say, or I'll put to dos. I'll say, okay, to do this, to do that. And then I'll say, okay, give me a summary of everything. And it'll just summarize everything that I need to do or all the documentation of the existing workflow. And that's something that AI is really good at. Of you say, okay, change this, and it's probably not perfectly accurate, but like it seems to be really accurate enough where it'll just add that in. So that's been cool. And then
Yeah,
the
that
other
sounds like a
thing,
huge unlock. I've been wanting a AI project manager for a while now that'll just
yeah,
understand the full context and be like,
yeah,
you said this,
yeah,
but now there are these other 10 questions that we have to be
right,
answered because some assumptions have changed now.
right. And then another thing I'll do is I'll say, oh, remind me to ask them. And all of these things, like if you wanted to, you could do these all manually. Like I used to do stuff like that. I'd have a scope doc, I'd have a thing doc
Hmm.
with and I did enough of that I just hated it so much that I'm just like allergic to that. Or I don't know.
Yes.
My brain is not fast at doing that stuff. So then I'll say, oh, remind me to ask about the pricing precision thing. Remind me to ask this person that. Boom, done. Switch tabs. It's going to take a second to do that. Switch tabs, get back to what I'm doing. And then the next time it wants to output the list of stuff for me, it'll just add, first of all, it'll find the relevant task that was related to that I freehand typed, and it'll just add it as a bullet point note underneath, like note question. So it's perfect the way it like spits it out.
And it's all a text list, so it's like perfectly like that's what the LLM operates on.
Yeah.
So it's totally able. That's cool. That's such a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. And then the other thing I hate is like I have a list of 15 things and I have to figure out what to work on next. Like that for
You
some
solved
reason,
that?
something I'd heard about in the past is this idea of like pairwise prioritization, where if you have a list of things, you can ask somebody, hey, just compare these two things. Which one's more important, this one or that one? Which is like so easy to do when you're just looking at two things. And then there's some kind of an algorithm that can take that and then determine an overall priority order for the whole list based on enough of those pairwise. So I'd heard about in the past, and I'd always like thought like, oh, I should build that, but it was like, it's like too complicated to build it. So I just tell it, hey, give me two random tasks to pick from my list. And then it shows me two. And most of the time, just like for some reason in my brain, when I see two tasks at a time, I'll like start working on one of them, which is like
That's
90% of the
nice.
time, like that's all you need is to just get something and get moving. And then
Or
usually if there's
reduce
some,
your scope of
yes,
attention.
reduce your scope of attention in a way that you're not gonna miss other stuff. Because what I would do pre this is I'd have a text list and I would just take the 20 things and I just move them down off the page so I couldn't see them and just pick two. And then like the next day I'd look at the list again, and then by the fifth day I'd be like, I'm so sick of looking at this list. I like my eyes are gonna glaze over that bullet 7 automatically or something like that. But
Yeah.
just asking for like two at a time is cool. And then if I don't want to work on any of those two at the moment, at least I'll prioritize one versus the other, which like is like a little mental, like I did something. And then I don't know if it's actually prioritizing them correctly based on these pairwise comparisons, but I sort of feel like it is, which like,
I bet the benefit you get out of the like reduction of scope is higher than because you also
exactly,
probably don't want to always work on the highest priority thing. Otherwise, there will be
exactly,
some things that you'll never do. So,
exactly.
like now that you're saying that, I think about when I go because my I have a daily note, and every day that I don't finish a to do, it just like moves to the next day in Obsidian.
Right.
And I just have started not scrolling up to look at my to-dos
A
because
hundred.
I'll
Yeah.
start reading them from bottom to top and then I'll just get
Exactly.
overwhelmed with, okay, well, I can't do any of these 5 or 10 things that I just read, but now I'm
Yeah.
thinking about them slightly, so I'm just like super stressed.
Yeah, yeah, I do the same thing. I do the same thing. Like I get stressed out looking at all of them. So just looking at two is, I don't know. It just like it feels like I'm more productive now, and
Dang, you're a guru, Kalen.
it's been kind of cool. And then I built this Shopify Flow model. I was like, oh, I'm gonna build a model that can. It's just a Chat GPT assistant. So you give it a prompt, or you give it system instructions, and then you give it a prompt, and then you can
Hmm.
upload files. So like I uploaded the list of triggers as like a JSON, the list of actions as a JSON, templates, and then you can just ask questions in it, and it basically searches those in for its answers. And I was real excited about that like a week ago. It, um, it's kind of cool. It's one of those things that like it's kind of cool. It's sort of useful most of the time, but getting it to where it's like highly accurate all the time that somebody would want to pay for, I realized is like going to be tricky. So
Yeah, and making it
yeah.
like you said you were working on trying to get it to actually build the dot flow file. I feel
Oh
like that's
yeah.
where it would definitely be useful for people in general, but I'm guessing that is, oh, it's impossible because of the
The
signature
checks.
that
Yeah.
you can't write. Dang it.
Yeah. Paul said he might look into that. Paul's the best, dude. He's like,
Go,
he's
Paul.
so cool, man. But he said he might look into that. So maybe they'll, because I mean, I don't know why they need that checksum. Like, I don't know if they're worried about malicious like flows being generated, because you still have to install them. And I mean, somebody could create something malicious and then give it to
Yeah,
you as
I
an
wonder if
export.
like some of the client side limitations that they give you, like you can't do something more than 100 times. Like maybe it's easier for them to validate that as being in the flow versus like trying to
Oh.
validate it on the back end. I don't know.
Oh, that would make sense actually. In which case, if we could get that checksum removed, we could go over that limit.
Yeah, but I mean, they could just like if that was the case, they could check that when you
Yeah,
upload the flow
totally.
before running it or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, that should be validated somewhere else probably. Unlimited loops for everyone.
That's right. You get a loop, and you get a loop.
Yeah. But yeah, that one is like, I don't know. I want to circle back to, because I wanted to incorporate it into some of the work I do, where like somebody can ask a question and then it can say, hey, click here to get this implemented for you as like a
Yeah,
lead generation thing. So yeah, that was kind of
that
that
does
was
sound
kind of cool.
useful. The other thing you were talking about today, I think, was like trying to access for companies that don't have actions like Klaviyo, and you want to write an
Yeah.
HTTP connection, like somehow access their API keys.
Right.
That
Right.
sounds really interesting too.
Yeah, it would just be like, I don't know, like it feel like, I mean, you're probably right that it would be dangerous for that to be like on a
It would totally
shop.
be abused, but
Yeah,
let
I
me
guess
do
it
it.
probably would. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think though, like if you put it on a shop meta field, then it could only be abused by apps that had access to your site, which, I mean, like, in what case is an app going to try to steal your Klaviyo API key? I mean,
It's always
can't,
possible, but I guess they could solve that with the permissions. Like, give the Kalen Flow app permissions to access Klaviyo app, and if
right.
you had that permission, then you could access the API. That seems like that would
Yeah,
be the way to
that
handle it.
seems like that should be a thing. I'm helping this dude, Dennis. He has an app called Checkout Links with a little flow so that he can allow people to send abandoned cart emails in Klaviyo using his special checkout links.
Nice.
And he wants a custom action so that they can just have like a little drop down to select from different link templates, and then like eventually to use like other services as well as Klaviyo. That's the reason for the custom flow action.
And avoid the need to like partner directly with Klaviyo to make a checkout links app in Klaviyo.
Yeah, like, because
That
I
sounds
mean, but
annoying.
anybody that has Klaviyo installed can just do it like how you're doing it, just with a flow, with a track event flow action. I don't know, if it was me, I'd want to do it that way, but I guess it's nice to give people an easier option too.
Yeah,
If you already,
not everyone is comfortable with like writing an HTTP
yeah,
query.
yeah. Well, Klaviyo has an action for tracking an event,
Oh, okay.
but you got to fill out a couple fields in there and stuff. And
I am not using that. I probably should.
oh, okay, nice. Yeah, I had actually forgotten about it because I was going in today to work on it, and I was like, all right, and I was like, wait, doesn't Klaviyo already have this? And then I checked, and I was like, oh yeah, that was the last template I built. I was like, why are we doing this? I was thinking about maybe open sourcing this little app as like a example of creating like a flow extension, and I could have like an action and a trigger in there and just have like a gadget template that people could use maybe with like a webhook thing in there too.
What would a use case be for that?
Well, it would just be like, for example, one thing that sometimes people want to do is like trigger a flow with like like an arbitrary webhook. And there's an app that does it. It's kind of
Oh, I
expensive.
see. As an app, like a trigger. Okay, got
Yeah.
it.
And I actually, the Flow Helper app I built did that, but then I sort of like disabled that because I got like 300,000 webhooks one day and I hadn't, I woke up and it was like, your gadget bill is $300 and it was supposed to be like 25.
No.
And so I was like, but I hadn't implemented queuing yet, which actually Gadget makes it so easy. It's so cool. I used to feel like I had no idea how to deal with queuing, but it like makes it really easy. But anyways, I disabled that because I was like, I'm not gonna do this. So sometimes people have a flow use case where they want to trigger from a webhook, and it's like, I was thinking it'd be cool to have an open source option. And also Gadget has a free plan. So it's even like a free plan for initial, like just initially validating it. So you could say, okay, boom, here's an example Gadget thing. You can just fork it, set up your app credentials, install it. Then you have a trigger you can hit right there. And then if you want to just put it into production, you pay a few bucks just for the Gadget usage, you could do that. Or also just like sometimes people haven't set up a flow trigger or action before and they just don't quite know how to do it. So it could just be like, I mean, the documentation is pretty good for doing it. It's not like super hard, but I was just thinking it might
Yeah,
be a
you can
cool.
get glassy eyed. Like I could probably read the docs and figure it out, but that sounds like this thing sounds much easier than that. I would
Right,
just do that.
right. Nice. Nice. Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking I need to do more like open source stuff because I'm so quick to want to try to monetize stuff, and I am trying to figure that out. Like, I would like to monetize some shit at some
Hmm.
point. But I was thinking about like my whole trajectory with Magento, how like ended up getting a product off the ground eventually. But leading up to that, like I did open source stuff. We all did like open source stuff. And it was just like, I don't know. I think like, for one, you build goodwill doing that, and then it comes back to you later versus just like, let me just monetize everything right now. Like, I want to do it now.
Goodwill and an audience for whatever you build that is monetized.
Yeah. And also, it's just like, I don't know when I lost that mindset of like, oh, this is cool. I just want to share this with people. Like, I think at some point I lost that default or something. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. Let me charge for it, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, that's
And
the way Magento was, and in Shopify, everything is much more like entrepreneurial. Like I'm going to
right,
build a thing, and people are going to pay for it because it's valuable.
right, right. Maybe that's
It's a
part of it.
balance, I guess.
I blame Toby.
That's right.
But yeah, there's this open source thing this dude Dylan posted recently that helps with setting up your, like, when you have app extensions, sometimes it's hard to have environment specific stuff in the config toml files, like a dev environment, a prod environment. I think is what his thing does, but I gotta check that out. I saw he posted it like a week or two ago, and I was thinking about that today. I gotta check that out, but that
That
was
is one thing
cool.
I wish Shopify was a little like had more attention on. And you mentioned something about this recently, like the difference between production and dev stores.
Hmm.
And the dev store just like is always out of date. And I need a way. It's hard to get that all to work because even if you have some solution for like syncing data from production down to a dev store, all of the GIDs and everything will change, and so it just like it's tough to
Right,
set up an official staging environment that's completely separate but still has some similarity.
dude. Yeah, that would be useful. Is like just push a button and just. I mean, we've been trying to figure this out forever. I mean, even in Magento, we were trying to. There was attempts to figure this kind of stuff out because you need to like anonymize customer data. when you pull it down, like there's some stuff you got to do, but that would be cool. That would
Lots of
be,
stuff.
there's lots of stuff. And that's one of those things that bigger stores need. So like,
Yeah, we had something like that on Salesforce, but it was like you could tell on the back end they were just doing the big old database resync every once in a while, like we had to on
right,
Magento.
right, right. They weren't having to like re-import stuff and deal with changing IDs and stuff like that. They were just
Yeah,
doing it quick and dirty. Or quick and clean, as the case may be.
no, this always kind of felt dirty to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because there's so many places you have to deal with those IDs. Like there'd be, I can't even. I mean,
Yeah,
I
like
can't
we
even.
we have like all the content on the homepage, all the content on every landing page would all need to be synced, and that all like the templates themselves reference these media objects by their ID,
Right.
and so how would it know to change them to the new IDs for the new uploads and sandbox? So now our staging environment just has like a really crappy homepage that's got like
Right.
a floating shop now button,
Yeah.
but
Dude, all your meta
whatever.
fields, all your meta objects, all your meta
Yeah,
field references to meta objects. Jeez, dude.
it's redonkulous.
Yeah, it's brutal. Dude, so I decided that instead of stressing about the list, because I think last time I like was distracted because I was trying to constantly think of the next topic. I was like, what I'll do if we run out of stuff to say is I'll just like have some keyword like to the list, and then we'll
Yeah,
just like take our time to sit and find something next to talk about, and then I could just easily edit it out.
that sounds professional. I feel like in like radio shows they do that.
Do they?
Keeps it real. I don't know. I haven't listened to the radio in like 5 years.
Yeah. But no, but I'm saying I can easily edit it out so that there's no like waiting time.
You
But
could have an AI that listens for silence and then just throws a topic onto your screen.
because I have the same exact problem with the list, was that it's so long that my eyes glaze over it. But if I could just get a
Mm.
couple things at once, to like think about.
Oh, we could have a button and you just slam the button and it goes,
Right.
"Boop," and then it gives you one or two.
Dude, that's a great idea. And then we could just both look at it and we could just press, either
Yes.
one of us could press the button and it'll show us the same thing on either screen.
We need a Cloudflare web app for this. Serverless
Firing it up,
database.
firing it up.
Oh, I was looking at the when we were talking about scraping the dev community forums
Right?
for Notebook LM podcast thing. I was looking to see if there was an API because you know how Shopify sometimes is like, oh yeah, we have an API for that. It just exists already. I couldn't find one, but
For
I saw that
scraping the forums?
you're on there. Yeah, like maybe they have some. Maybe the forum homepage just has like a .json, and so you just go to
Oh, right.
forum homepage.json. Here are all the topics sorted by most
Oh,
recent.
right. Right,
That
right,
would be
right, right.
sweet.
That would be sweet. Yeah, they should have
Like a
insisted on,
sitemap.
yeah, they should have insisted on discourse forums adding JSON endpoints just for them, just to be like,
Oh, is that what they're using?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, maybe that's a thing then.
I'm sure it at least probably has like a feed, like an XML feed,
Yeah.
but I don't know if those always incorporate all the replies. But yeah, we'll
Yeah,
figure
you'd have
that
to do
out,
some
dude.
crawling, I guess.
I did check out this crawling app called ScrapingBee, and it's pretty awesome, dude. I was using it for some of the flow stuff. It handles like everything for you as far as like, because I tried to like fetch something, just like a regular fetch from like the Shopify community forums, and I got blocked. I got like Cloudflare blocked. But
Banned.
yeah, but It's pretty cool. It like has proxies and all that stuff, and then it also has a little AI prompt where you can because have you ever done any scraping in the past?
A little bit,
Everybody's done a little touch of scraping. So you know how like you end up having to parse out HTML, write a bunch of regular expressions and shit?
which is against the rules.
Right. But it's also like hard to do, and then it'll takes you forever to get the parsing right,
Yeah.
right? So dude, the scraping bee thing has a little AI prompt where you go, hey, like for the flow documentation, I was like, hey, give me a JSON response with the title, the list of actions that are supported in this
Mm.
trigger, and the blah blah blah. Boom, dude, it just returns the JSON perfectly. It's so
We're in
cool.
the future right now.
I know,
This is
dude.
like, oh man, there's so many things that used to be so hard,
Right,
and you'd
exactly.
spend like days on them.
I know, I know.
I was
Have
helping
you?
my friend the other night. He does a lot of consumer packaged goods selling on Amazon. He
Mhm,
works at an agency and they sell like they have clients who sell things on Amazon.
mhm,
And he wanted to figure out how to pull this report out of it's called Amazon Seller Central.
mhm,
And that sounds like you could do that with Zapier. And
mhm.
so he just went in like he's like, okay, I got this thing, and he had a Python script that was doing stuff, and I was like, where did you get this Python script? Oh, that's from ChatGPT, and it was doing the right thing.
That's crazy,
It's
dude.
happening
That's crazy, dude. Have you used Cursor, the editor?
a little bit. I got to give it another shot.
Okay. Oh yeah, we talked about this. There's the chat mode, and then there's the composer mode. The composer is an agent that can do multiple steps, multiple files, read files from your code base, all sorts of shit. And you can be like, make me a Next.js app. It'll spin it up. You go add Google authentication. It adds the Next.js authentication route. It tells you, okay, go get a Google API key. And then it works a good chunk of it. Like sometimes
Wait,
it's
get
does.
me. How does it get the API
Oh
key?
no, no, it
Like
tells you
goes and
it's
searches GitHub for
no, no, no. It
API
tells you
key leaks.
no, no. It tells you to paste it in, and then you gotta go. But it does a decent
Okay.
job of telling. Because I always get so confused in the Google Cloud API section. It does a decent job of like telling you where to go. Like I can't tell you how many times I've gotten lost in that stupid Google API account. But yeah, it'll do crazy stuff. Like it'll just do stuff.
Oh man, I gotta maybe sometime I can just like watch you use it, or I gotta look up a YouTube video or something.
Dude, we should do a sesh, man. I'm so obsessed. Actually, I can't believe I didn't really mention that. That's the other thing I'm obsessed with is just using Composer for like everything practically, like all the code. It's
Cool.
yeah, it's so nuts, dude. And it gets stuff wrong. I mean, it gets stuff wrong quite a bit, especially if you switch context. Like, if you're doing something and it's working on some files and you have a thread going, it starts to know exactly what to do. But then, and actually, I had been using the same thread for like 6 days last week, and like my computer was like frozen, and I realized that you need to use like separate threads. It was like your thread is too long, start a new thread. So when you start a new thread, it forgets basic shit. Like I was
Yeah,
like, hey, add this feature for me, and it like added it on the wrong page. It forgot that related feature was already implemented on this other page, and it could like find the code from it. So you have to remind it about that.
yeah. That feels like an interesting next step for those tools. Like the way some people handle that is like a rolling window, so it'll like keep the same size but move downward as you're having because every time you ask a question, it has to go through the whole
Oh,
conversation, right? In order to
yeah,
get the context. It would be cool if there was like a separate service that somehow is able to summarize your thread so far into something shorter so that
right,
even like when you ask it something new, it can quickly catch up through the whole thing because it's
right,
like it's stateless.
right, right,
It doesn't know the conversation you had so far, so it has to
right,
reread it every time.
right. Yeah,
That
and
seems like
then
the next interesting thing to like convenience away.
yeah. Yeah, I can imagine this future where it just works. Like all these
Hmm.
gaps are filled in, and then it's so cool. This one guy posted a thread on like how to use Cursor, and he like replied to me on Twitter, and I was like, oh, stupid spammer. But I looked at it, and it actually had some good nuggets in it. And one of them was like to tell it to keep track of changes it's making in a file or something like that. And then also to have like a file where you have all the context for it. So I have this context text file where I just have been adding things. Like when it forgets basic stuff, I'll be like, the hours page is here. The, clients
Oh,
page is here. Yeah. And the schema, the Prisma schema is here. And then I'll just paste that in at times. If it looks like it's forgotten stuff, I'll just paste that in. That's helping a little bit.
pro bot management. I got to take a class on this. This feels like the future right here.
Yeah, dude, it's
Just
pretty
going to be
crazy.
managing like hundreds of bots to do work, and I'll be hooked up
I
into the
know,
brain.
dude. I feel like we're gonna be like a symphony composer, like
Hmm.
orchestrating. I feel like we're gonna be orchestrating all this stuff, and it's just like you press a button and you have all this like. But there's still a lot of stuff you got to catch. Like, it might try to implement something in the wrong way. Like, it's
Yeah, but we can read
past.
code quickly, right? So it's like,
Exactly. It's like you look at the snippet of code and you go, okay, I'm not going to read through all this array filtering stuff. You know how there's all these like JavaScript array functions? Like,
500 different functions.
dude, reduce, map. Like, I
Map,
know,
filter, sum.
yes, all that, dude. Like, I'm still out here writing for loops to do that stuff. But, like,
For I equals
yeah,
zero,
yeah, yeah.
I.
You know the drill. But like those are just like logic. So it nails those every time. Like you
Mhm.
don't even really need to think about it. You just go, okay, yeah, it's filtering out, the list of products and it's filtering out the ones that don't have a tag X or whatever. And you just look at that chunk of code and you go, yeah, it looks good. And then of course you're going to test it.
Maybe. Maybe
Of
you just
course you're
copy
gonna
and paste
test
it in
it.
there.
Maybe, yeah, dude. And the one app I've been doing the most work on is my little local app that's doing my email and my hour tracking and stuff like that.
Is that a
But
web app that you have that you go into and
yeah, dude, it's pure LocalHost. I haven't deployed it anywhere. It's a SQLite database. I basically
that's a pod title right there. Pure local host.
it's pure LocalHost, dude. Because I was just like, I'm always trying to like put stuff out there and blah blah blah. I was like, dude, and this is the other thing that's kind of cool about this, like, is that I'm gonna just make this software for myself. I think people are
Hmm.
going to be able to more so like just make software for themselves more easily.
Hmm.
Because like before this, I wouldn't have taken the time to write all this stuff for my time tracking. I was doing an Airtable, and an Airtable is pretty cool. Like there's some stuff you can do right out of the box, but certain things are just annoying. And I've just been working on this my own little time tracker and the email thing, and so it's like it's low risk. Like I'm not gonna like break some huge production Shopify store if something's broken.
Yeah, but you made something that improves your own life. That's
Yeah,
cool
yeah, yeah,
because it's
yeah,
so cheap and fast to do it now. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah. It's fun. I'm having fun with
I
it.
got to get into this cursor thing because I get so annoyed when I'm like talking just with ChatGPT and I'm like, okay, here's the context. I need to do this. It gets like one little bit of the code wrong,
Right.
and then I'm like, okay, that's good, but I always have to be appreciative. I'm just making sure I don't get blown away when they become robots. But
Right.
like there's one little thing that's wrong with it and then it'll have to rewrite the whole thing again. This was the worst when I was working on the tasteful emoji site
Yeah.
because every emoji is a string of like 8 characters. and so and I would like have a list of emojis in a const and
Yeah.
it would have to rewrite that whole const every time.
Right,
I
right,
just need
right.
you to update this one line over here because I'm too
Right,
lazy to
right.
do it. But it has to go through the whole thing
Oh,
again.
dude, yeah, you got to check it out. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, but also, like sometimes it gets slow, and then I'll like switch from like Claude over to 4.0, and then I'll switch back, and then it'll get like, or it'll start acting stupid, or I'll get a timeout, and then I'll switch back to the other one. And then I was like, dude, there's no way, because it's not even 4.0 mini, it's 4.0, which like the amount of requests I'm putting through on this sucker, there's no way for $20 a month. There's no way, dude. Like, there's no way that's
Oh, they're totally
profitable.
losing money.
Oh, dude. So then I noticed this little thing when I posted a question. It said, "This is a slow request. Click here to upgrade." And I was like, "Oh no!" And then you have to
$200 a
upgrade.
month.
Well, you have to upgrade to usage-based pricing, and it defaults you to like a $20 cap. But oh god, I hate usage-based pricing so
Yeah,
much.
that's how they get
Like,
you.
oh god, dude. And I think the delays are going to get longer and longer. Like, it puts a delay up there for like 2 seconds, and then it starts chugging. But I'm like, dude, that's
Whew.
going to become 10 seconds. And like, I'm so dependent on this now. It's like, it's horrible.
The good news is it seems like Nvidia's cooking right now, and they'll
Yeah,
hopefully just keep cranking it up, and we will no longer have any power or processing issues in the
dude.
future, and that's how we
Boys,
become
keep these
spacefaring.
chips churning out quick,
Churn them out.
please, dude.
We need a new state-sponsored like a giant pyramid filled with chips just for AI
Dude,
processing.
just pump them out, dude.
It's a public good. Give
Yeah,
us the processing.
I have this like feeling, and I don't know if it feels like a new feeling. We've always been like, had this need for like, I need a faster computer. I need more memory. Like, I want my computer to be faster. I need more disk space. Like, that's been
Mhm.
forever. But now I have this feeling that like, I need intelligence. Like,
Oh,
I'm relying on this thing, and things have varying levels of intelligence, and you kind of evaluate them. Like, I imagine this is how people that are like managers or CEOs think, which I've never been like that, where you like look at a person and you go, okay, this is what I can get out of this thing. Like, this thing has
mm.
X intelligence that I can use, so I'm going to, okay, signed off. Okay, boom. Now they're in my like. I don't know. I've never had that my like ability or mindset with people, but now I'm like, okay, this thing can give me these, can do these things for me. This other thing can do these things, and it's going this fast. Oh, it's going slow. I need more intel. Like, I need to click the
Bonk.
upgrade button.
You're shut down.
Yeah, like
You don't have
it's
to
a
fire people anymore. You can just
right.
unplug them.
Right. But it's a weird, I don't know if that's a new feeling or thought that I feel this, like, I have this need for, like, I need more intelligence out of these things.
That's interesting. I feel like that's going to keep going, and eventually everything's like my ballpoint pen's going to know when I need to click it.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so, like, excited for the future. Like,
Me too. It's so weird.
it's
I
weird.
mean,
Like,
we're at this like hype curve thing
yeah,
where like tech early adopters kind of like already went through this hype maximum hype thing and
yeah,
they came back down, and now like we're at the point now where random company CEOs are like, we need to put AI into everything, and then they'll kind of understand like, okay, maybe AI doesn't help everything, but then it comes back up and it actually does help everything, and like I'm really looking forward to that.
yeah. Yeah, like it's like gradually then suddenly, and there's these cycles, and then you go, "Oh
Hmm.
no, it was never going to be that good after all." And then all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, they got there." And
Yeah.
like I also like since I stopped looking at like TikTok and basically I'm not seeing any news because like I haven't been watching the news forever. But the thing is that the news seeps into the social media. So like
Hmm.
there was like something on the like literally unless my wife tells me about it, I don't hear about it. And so like what I realized is that there was a lot of negativity. Like I've been pro AI forever. Like I was into AI since when I was like 16. Like I've just always been fascinated by it. But
Hmm.
the negativity has like even seeped into me, I realized, where I was like, what if this is bad? What if we all die? What if, the billionaires all take advantage of us? And maybe that's going to happen. I don't know. But like when I'm not consuming that type of content and I'm just binge listening to like these AI podcasts where they're just talking about all these cool things that are happening, all these exciting things, then it's like I'm so optimistic about the future and about all these things. And I could be totally wrong. Like we could be we could be heading off a cliff and we could all die from it. But it feels good to feel optimistic. And
Yeah,
like
it's something
that's
new.
just
Like it's a new thing that's like gonna change a lot regardless. Hopefully it's
yeah,
good.
yeah,
It'll probably be good, but
yeah,
like everything can be used for bad. And
yeah.
so
I'm
I don't
just
know. I'm
like
optimistic too.
yeah, it's like social media. It's like most people say if you get off of social media, then it, makes you feel better and I think
Yeah,
I'm experiencing that and I'm viewing it through this specific lens since getting off of like TikTok and whatever. But
nice. I probably need to
yeah,
cull my Twitter list a little bit so I stop getting so many Taco Bell fight videos and
right.
just
Right.
get the happy tech stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been wanting to get more caught up on Twitter, but I've been a little behind the last week or so. But usually for
You've been working
me,
on all this cool stuff.
yeah, I've been just kind of like busy, but you start to feel out of the loop when you're not like catching up on Twitter and stuff. So usually, like, I see the Taco Bell fights once I've scrolled past, like, it seems to do a decent job actually of showing me Shopify stuff first. And then once
Mm,
it gets to the bottom of the barrel, if I keep
runs out of
scrolling,
content.
then I see the Taco Bell fights. So
So what you're saying is I need to not be on Twitter so much. I will
that
I'll
might
I'll
be
work
it.
on that.